Shenanigans in the Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, Courthouse presents Fraud in Montgomery County's Department of Aging and Adult Services. The court documents that you are about to see are real. The people are real. The story is real. The story begins with attorney Robert Slutsky petitioning the courts to deem Montgomery County citizens incapacitated and recommending a fee-based guardian of his choosing. A judge, who ignores the rules of professional conduct for an attorney, will deem the Montgomery County citizen incapacitated and assign the citizen the very for-profit guardian, who attorney Robert Slutsky recommended. As a result of being assigned a guardian, the citizen no longer can go to the bank to withdraw their money. The citizen can no longer hire an attorney to defend them. The citizen does not decide where they live. The citizen does not choose their own doctor. The citizen does not consent to any surgery for themselves. A total stranger, who is a for-profit professional guardian, will make all these decisions for the citizen. He, professional guardian, claims to provide services to the citizen and submits a petition to the court to pay their fees from the citizen's assets. The recommended guardian will also petition to have attorney Robert Slutsky paid from the citizen's estate. The same Robert Slutsky, who originally petitioned the courts on behalf of Montgomery County's Aging and Adult Services, which is a seemingly blatant conflict of interest. An allegedly corrupt Montgomery County judge signs orders that force the Montgomery County citizen to pay both attorney Robert Slutsky and the guardian who Slutsky recommended in his original petition. Essentially, the judge is condoning the blatant conflict of interest. The citizen's estate is depleted to pay service fees to attorney Robert Slutsky and the professional guardians who he recommends in his petitions. Excerpts from contracts and court records will follow, for you to decide for yourself if there are shenanigans in the Montgomery County, Pennsylvania Courthouse and Montgomery County's Aging and Adult Services. This excerpt from Robert Slutsky's contract with Montgomery County shows Robert Slutsky was hired with tax money to represent Montgomery County's Aging and Adult Services. Do the Commonwealth's standard of integrity allow for attorney Robert Slutsky to profit off the citizens of Montgomery County forcibly by petitioning the courts on the county's behalf? Did attorney Robert Slutsky get consent from the Commonwealth to have financial interest with the professional guardians, who he would recommend in his petitions to be the fee-based guardians of Montgomery County citizens? Did Robert Slutsky get the informed consent from Montgomery County citizens, stating that it was okay for Slutsky to provide the service of petitioning the courts to deem the citizens incapacitated, resulting in citizens losing all their constitutional rights and being forced to pay Slutsky and the guardians who he recommends service fees? Attorney Robert Slutsky's contract to provide legal services for Montgomery County's Aging and Adult Services included payment up to $70,000. Additionally, Robert Slutsky was only supposed to be paid by voluntary contributions by his service recipients. Does voluntary mean that citizens should be forced to pay Robert Slutsky through court orders written by corrupt judges in Montgomery County? Numerous slides will show excerpts from real Montgomery County, Pennsylvania court documents. This document shows that attorney Robert Slutsky petitioned the courts on behalf of Montgomery County's Aging and Adult Services to deem Florence incapacitated. In his petition, he recommended Intervention Associates be the guardian. Once Intervention Associates was assigned as the fee-based guardian to Florence, Intervention Associates hired attorney Robert Slutsky to represent them in petitions submitted to the courts concerning Florence, not just once, not just twice, not just 3 times, but at a minimum, at least 4 times. It should be noted that in one of the 4 petitions, Robert Slutsky and the guardian he recommended revoked Florence's trust, which Florence's daughter was meant to manage, not a fee-based guardian assigned by an unethical judge. Previously shown, Robert Slutsky's contract with Montgomery County's Aging and Adult Services stated that attorney Robert Slutsky was only allowed to get fees from citizens voluntarily. Slutsky originally inserted himself into Florence's life as an attorney representing Montgomery County's Aging and Adult Services. However, Slutsky parlayed his involvement to the extent Florence was forced to pay him $4,673 from her own assets, via court orders from allegedly corrupt Judge Lois Murphy. Florence was forced to pay attorney Robert Slutsky $9,236.50. Florence was forced to pay Robert Slutsky $5,771. At a minimum, Florence was forced to pay attorney Robert Slutsky a grand total of $19,680.50. In summary, Robert Slutsky petitioned the court to deem Florence incapacitated while representing Montgomery County's Aging and Adult Services. However, Florence ended up paying attorney Robert Slutsky out of her own money, $19,680.50, in a blatant conflict of interest, approved by Judge Lois Murphy, and additionally, against Robert Slutsky's contract with the county, which stated payment from citizens was to be voluntary. Florence isn't the only person attorney Robert Slutsky petitioned the courts to have deemed incapacitated via Montgomery County's Aging and Adult Services. Robert Slutsky also petitioned the courts to have Pauline deemed incapacitated. In this petition, Slutsky recommended Kalpana Doshi as the fee-based guardian. Robert Slutsky subsequently submitted his bill to the very person he was petitioning to have deemed incapacitated, Pauline. Robert Slutsky was to be paid $140 an hour for his work through his contract with Aging and Adult Services, as seen previously, but the bill that he submitted to Pauline charges $265 an hour. Robert Slutsky's bill to Pauline includes time for creating and filing the petition, driving time to the courthouse, and attending the hearing that stripped Pauline of all her constitutional rights. Did Robert Slutsky also bill Montgomery County's Aging and Adult Services $140 an hour, in other words double dip? After all, attorney Robert Slutsky claimed to be representing Montgomery County's Aging and Adult Services. Why is Pauline paying Robert Slutsky's bill? Not only does Robert Slutsky represent Montgomery County's Aging and Adult Services, he also represents Kalpana Doshi, the same guardian who he recommended in his original petition, which is a blatant conflict of interest. Although Judge Lois Murphy presumably understands what a conflict of interest is, she still approves of attorney Robert Slutsky being paid from Pauline's estate. Additionally, recall that Montgomery County's Aging and Adult Services contract with attorney Robert Slutsky stated that Robert Slutsky was only to be paid voluntarily from Montgomery County citizens. Since when is a voluntary contribution considered an order written by a corrupt judge to force payment from the citizens? One instance of allegedly corrupt behavior doesn't make a racket. To show there is an alleged racket, repeated instances of the same behavior is required. Let's look at the case of Alan through excerpts from the court documents. Robert Slutsky once again represented Montgomery County's Aging and Adult Services to have Alan deemed incapacitated, and Slutsky again recommended Kalpana Doshi as the fee-based guardian. An allegedly corrupt Montgomery County judge, Stanley, appoints Kalpana Doshi, who is a total stranger to Alan, as his fee-based guardian. Once again, in a total conflict of interest, Kalpana Doshi subsequently used Robert Slutsky as her attorney. Has Montgomery County changed the English language as far as the meaning of voluntary contribution? Once again, attorney Robert Slutsky parlayed his petition on behalf of Montgomery County's Aging and Adult Services into personal financial gain for himself from the very person he petitioned to have deemed incapacitated, Alan. In this court excerpt, allegedly corrupt Judge Stanley signs a decree stating Alan is forced to pay attorney Robert Slutsky $1,189.50. As seen in Pauline's and Alan's cases previously, a pattern is developing. Robert Slutsky, while representing Montgomery County's Aging and Adult Services, petitions the court to deem a Montgomery County citizen incapacitated, and subsequently personally profits off the same citizen via court orders from an allegedly corrupt judge. In this example, Robert Slutsky recommended Kalpana Doshi as the fee-based guardian for Doris. Allegedly corrupt Montgomery County judge, Stanley, appoints Kalpana Doshi as the fee-based guardian of Doris. In a seemingly blatant conflict of interest, Kalpana Doshi turns around and uses Robert Slutsky as her attorney. In Doris's case, Slutsky is petitioning the courts for Kalpana Doshi to sell Doris's home to an investment company. As a result of Robert Slutsky's original petition, while representing Montgomery County's Aging and Adult Services, both Robert Slutsky and Kalpana Doshi profit off Montgomery County citizen, Doris. Doris was forced to pay Robert Slutsky and Kalpana Doshi by court orders signed by allegedly corrupt Judge Stanley. Doris found herself in the predicament of forced payment to these alleged criminals via an original petition from Montgomery County's Aging and Adult Services. Are the Montgomery County Courts and Aging and Adult Services conspiring together to financially exploit the elderly citizens of Montgomery County, Pennsylvania? As seen in Pauline's, Alan's, and Doris's cases previously, attorney Robert Slutsky petitioned the court to deem a Montgomery County citizen incapacitated. This time, it is Joan. Slutsky, once again, recommends Kalpana Doshi as the fee-based guardian. Once again, in a blatant conflict of interest, Kalpana Doshi hires Robert Slutsky as her attorney in Joan's case. Although Robert Slutsky submitted a petition on behalf of Montgomery County's Aging and Adult Services, and even though Slutsky's contract with the county stated he should only take voluntary contributions from the people he services, attorney Robert Slutsky submitted his bill to be paid by Montgomery County citizen Joan. Joan was forced to pay Robert Slutsky $875 to research and prepare his petition for appointment of her fee-based, for-profit, total stranger guardian, Kalpana Doshi. Joan was forced to pay Robert Slutsky $500 to drive to and attend the hearing that removed all Joan's constitutional rights as a citizen. Joan was forced to pay Robert Slutsky $1,000 to have her house sold. Money from the sale goes toward paying the service fees of Kalpana Doshi, the for-profit, fee-based guardian Slutsky recommended in his original petition. Robert Slutsky allegedly fleeced $5,163.50 from Joan's estate via this invoice submitted to Joan, care of Kalpana Doshi. He allegedly corrupt Judge Stanley knows that Robert Slutsky petitioned the courts on behalf of Montgomery County's Aging and Adult Services. Judge Stanley knows that Robert Slutsky turned around to represent the very guardian who he suggested in his original petition, and Judge Stanley knows the rules of professional conduct. Nonetheless, Judge Stanley approves of Slutsky's fees being paid out of Joan's estate when it is seemingly a blatant conflict of interest, and goes against Slutsky's contract with the county, which states Slutsky is only to be paid voluntarily. Is Robert Slutsky, Kalpana Doshi, and Judge Stanley guilty of using their positions to financially exploit the elderly in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania? Excerpt from Section 81.4, Rules of Professional Conduct, Rule 1.7 Conflict of Interest, identifies that material can interfere with a lawyer's independent professional judgment. Does this rule apply to Robert Slutsky, or are Montgomery County attorneys exempt? Another excerpt from the Rules of Professional Conduct prompts the question, can attorney Robert Slutsky have independent judgment to a client when the client will be the one to force a Montgomery County citizen to pay Robert Slutsky and his client both? This diagram was shown originally in the beginning of this video, prior to actual excerpts from contracts and court documents being revealed. Who has determined for themselves that there are shenanigans in the Montgomery County, Pennsylvania Courthouse and Montgomery County's Aging and Adult Services? Who thinks there is a criminal racket in the courthouse aimed at financially exploiting the elderly citizens of Montgomery County? Shenanigans in the Montgomery County, Pennsylvania Courthouse is dedicated to exposing the alleged criminal racket that exploits the citizens of Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. The views in this presentation are the opinion of the narrator, which are protected by the First Amendment of the United States Constitution.